Hello and welcome back to Spinalcast. We're your window into the world of spinal cord injury. Joining me today as our wonderful guest is Bryon Riesch. Bryon is part owner and project manager at R&R Insurance, as well as being president of the Bryon Riesch Paralysis Foundation. And Bryon, we're excited to have you. Thanks for joining us.
I feel blessed to be here. This is outstanding. I'm excited to get started, and really honored just to be on the show.
To get us kind of started, would you be willing to kind of let us hear your story of what happened and how did you get injured?
Yeah, I was 19. I was a freshman at Marquette University, and I was having an absolute great time. Just
Good.
to the prime of my life. I didn't think anything would ever happen to me. Great shape, all different fun. And I was actually at a party, and we were diving on a slip and slide. And when I dove on the slip and slide, my hands literally slipped out from in front of me, and I hit my chin and it threw my neck back really hard. And my C5 vertebrae went over the top of my C6 or vice versa, and just put bruised it. So, if you look down, you count down 5 things, you look at my spinal cord in an X-ray, you'd see that one part of it is just black. But I mean, I remember diving in that slip and slide, and thinking like, not being able to move all of a sudden, and I think, all right, wait, it will come back again. I'll be able to move. I'll wait. It didn't come back. And then I started feeling like this ring of fire, they call it sometimes, around the level of your injury. Like literally, being C5, it was like right around my lower chest moving here. And somebody said, oh, you get up, you're fine. And somebody grabbed my arm and pulled me a little bit. I said, no, I can't move, and
oh my gosh.
I remember being conscious through the whole thing, and there was some nursing students there that ended up taking, helped me get me straight or whatever, took control of it. I remember them calling 911, me talking to the people on 911. I remember calling my mom before the ambulance ever got there, and telling my mom, hey, Mom, I'm not sure what happened. I can't move. And me being at Marquette, I'm a local guy, so I've always lived in Waukesha, which is a suburb of Milwaukee, for years. And my mom immediately freaked out, and she said, "I'll be down there. I'm coming." She wasn't sure what exactly happened, but after that point, the ambulance came, and it was really just it was like a whirlwind.
Had you had any sort of I wouldn't say experience, but had you seen or heard any other stories of people with spinal cord injuries? Did you have any idea what you were getting into when you ended up with the injury, or was it all just, learning as you go?
It was well, okay. So, I mean, at the time, Christopher Reeves was the man, Superman, and of course, I knew about Christopher Reeves, and I knew he was doing amazing things. But besides that, no, I really didn't know exactly what I was getting into. I knew, Travis Roy was around that time too. I don't know if you recognize that name or not, but he's done a lot of research as well. Travis Roy Foundation. He was a college player, ice hockey player that broke his neck playing hockey. But other than that, no, I really didn't. This is a whole new game for me, and I guess I was learning fast and furious on what it meant to being a C5 quadriplegic. And it's what's amazing is it's not just yourself that's learning; it's your whole family and community and neighborhood. It's like it just affects so many more people than just yourself, which at the time you're always so introverted, and what's happening to me, it's like what's happening to everybody else too at the same time, which is pretty crazy. You think about it.
Well, in talking with other people who have experienced injuries, I think kind of one of the common things I hear is that right after the injury, kind of that first, you said you were in the hospital for 3 months or so, spending that much time in a hospital and that much time alone, I think a lot of people kind of go to a really dark place. And were you always as optimistic and charismatic and friendly as you are now, or was there a point in time in which it was tough?
Well, it's always tough. I mean, even now, I mean, there's times where it sucks, but um,
Totally.
uh, you've gotten used. I've gotten used to it by now. I gotten used to suck. There's certain sucks that are great, and there's certain sucks that aren't so great, but it still sucks. But
Yeah.
um, you know, when I was injured, I was a really highly motivated individual. I I was very goal orientated. I look at challenges and I'd want to overcome them. And I am obviously I was devastated. Don't get me wrong. I was completely devastated. Um,
Right.
but I immediately kind of turned it into a game in my head. Like, okay, this is what I'm dealt right away. This is how I'm going to beat it. This is how it's gonna go. Um, and I took my look at therapy. That's how I looked at therapy. That's how I looked at everything. It's like, this is a challenge. You can get through it. We'll figure it out. You get this going. Um,
Yeah.
did I have my nights of crying and being in the dark spot? Woe's me. I did. I mean, there are nights I did, but I have to say the the people that I had around me at that time, some of my physical therapists, some of my friends, and of course my family, and I had some great people from Marquette, made some great friends, great priests that came in, that talked to me and things like that, and everything happens for a reason, I guess, and this was put in my this is what this is what my life was been dealt, and this is where I'm gonna have to go. But yeah,
So you mentioned getting back to school. So how long from the injury until you got to go back to classes at Marquette?
so I was injured. Let's see, April 25th. So that was just right at the end of my freshman year. Um,
Hmm.
that's how I got out of my exams. Really, I mean, I think I had like a week and a half
Did
left
you
of
get all
school.
those credits? Did
I
you get
got
all
all
those
the
credits?
credits. They gave me
All
the credits,
right.
believe it or not. Thank God they gave me the credits. But and I didn't have to do the final exam, so they passed me. And believe it or not, I was on the dean's list. I don't know how that happened, but I made the dean's list. Um,
That's awesome.
I know. So I basically spent, like April. I was in the hospital all summer, and I came back that next semester, that fall semester, and
Wow.
granted, I lived a half an hour away, but I had a couple people that worked with me that I drove down. They drove me down to Marquette once a day that first semester to take Spanish. I took one class of Spanish, three credits, or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
don't know why I took Spanish. No idea.
So you're not fluent, is what you're
No,
saying.
I should be. I think I have my equivalency, but I mean, I was sitting there in the class as a quadriplegic, not be able to take notes, for the first time, and thinking to myself, yeah, I'm not retaining this very well, but habla, hola, I was good. But I mean, it was, I, it was some of the best therapy that you could go through from a mental standpoint. I mean, for me to get back down on campus, to be around friends, to
Yeah.
start like saying, "Oh yeah, I can do something with my life again. I'm just not going to be stuck at home. I'm
Totally.
learning." That was the key. It didn't really matter that it was Spanish. It just mattered that I was out there learning something and learning how to learn again. Like you hear
Hmm.
about certain people with injuries, or some people that they go blind. Well, all of a sudden their hearing becomes better. Well, it's like I lost the use of my limbs and my body. So how do I take notes, or how do I remember things, or how do I do different things like that. And um, it's like learning how to learn again, and just that ability to be out in public and be comfortable with who you are and drive around that wheelchair. And I mean, it making people feel comfortable around you. I mean, I remember being in class, and there'd be times where, at the time, this was before I had a backlift and pump. I have a lot of spasms and jumping around and
Oh, okay.
shaking and all that different stuff. And there'd be times when I sit in class and my leg would kick up and shake around like this, and people would look at me, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, I can move!" And and then people in my class would kind of like freak out. I'm like, oh no! I'm just joking. My foot would be hanging off the wheelchair, and I had to have somebody pick it up and put it back in my footrest. But really, I mean, that first class, that was the first step to me getting back in public and doing
Yeah,
things and learning
reclaiming
things. Yeah,
reclaiming your life,
yeah, it
as it
really
were.
was. So the next semester after that, I took two more classes, and then I took classes in the summer. And the following year, I was back to full load um, for both semesters. So actually ended up graduating in 5 years with a double major in marketing and information technology, with
Awesome.
with a minor in Spanish.
So I guess continuing kind of on that college discussion, when you came back and got to be around with all your friends and stuff, was it just different? Did you feel like anyone treated you differently? Were people very understanding? What was kind of just the general consensus of living what I would call the college lifestyle, which is a lot of fun, probably not doing all of the smartest things. How was that affected?
It wasn't the same.
Yeah,
It was different. I was living at home. I did not, I do know some quadriplegics that actually went on campus and lived there. I lived at home with my parents, obviously. I needed a lot of help. I needed somebody in the morning to get me up in the morning. I needed somebody to throw me in bed at night.
hmm
I learn how to get used to the bowel routine and all that stuff. And you know, when I first started, it was me really still understanding my injury too. So while I was going to school, I was also learning about myself and okay, what can I
totally.
get back? What am I not going to get back? What, from an injury standpoint. Um, why am I going dysreflexic? Why am I sweating?
Yeah,
So I was like, it was like so much like crammed into those first couple of years, but of me just learning not only school but um, my injury and how I need help and how I don't need help and all that different stuff. So my college experience was not only book smarts, it was like quad 101, for 4 years about figuring out what I can and what I can't do. And every injury is so different that,
right.
from what I've seen, it's like some people are good there, some people don't have that problem there. Well, I really was very lucky to have a physical therapist that I became very close with, that would help me out, that would help me do a lot of different range of motion, cognitive therapy, things like that during
Yeah,
that time. And I had a lot of good friends that really, um, you know, they would come out and get me, go down to a party. Um,
yeah,
I'd go to, I was a huge Marquette basketball fan. Go all the Marquette games. If
nice.
I went down, to school or something like that, down a class down there, stay afterwards, go to somebody's house. Um, it was different. It was, you know, scary at first. Uh, all these, it's like I'm 19 years old, just getting out into life as it is, but now I'm 19 years old, getting out as a quadriplegic, and it was challenging, it was scary, it was fun, definitely was not the same, but socially, like I said, I was pretty outgoing in general, and
Right.
I think it's important to, when you're in this situation, is whether if you're outgoing or not outgoing, is to get out there and embrace people. because if you're not going to go far if you don't have help. And I
Hmm.
needed a lot of help, and I needed a lot more help as this injury progressed. And I wasn't afraid to ask. I really was not afraid to ask anybody.
That is the key, I think, with anything, as far as help is concerned, is being open and willing to ask is so important
Yeah.
for anybody in a place of need. And it kind of takes a hit on your personal confidence or your own kind of, I don't know, like your demeanor, right? Is just like, I just don't want to ask for help, but sometimes there's no other option. And once you've done it once or done it twice, it starts getting easier, and it just feels more comfortable, I guess.
You know what? Not only does it get easier, I almost feel like sometimes, like, you know, the more times I ask for help, I used to tell a story. It's like, I used to, as a quadriplegic, I go out into a public area or whatever, and I'd always try to put my hand forward and, ask for help, reach out and, just ask for help, and sometimes you weren't sure where you're gonna get back. Well, I'd ask for help, and I had so many hands, somebody else reaching back saying, "How can I help you? What's the best way
Yeah.
to do it?" And with so many of my friends and so many people that were out there that I dealt with, they were scared. They knew me before, but they were uncomfortable. They didn't know how to help me out. They didn't know they didn't know what I needed or what I wanted. Um,
Yeah.
it took me to ask that question. It took me to ask them for help, to give them confidence to be able to help me out and being willing to help me out. So many people are
Yeah.
being willing to help me out, but if you don't ask, a lot of them are just going to shy away. Um,
Yeah, I think that's totally true. I can speak from personal experience. I mean, even spending time around Peter
yeah,
Morton, and just, if he needs assistance with something, or can you move, I feel like I probably shouldn't touch anything on his chair. I don't want to, like, the last thing I want to do is be the cause of something horrendous. So
yeah,
I'm scared to, do anything. And so him asking, can you, fix my headset or whatever, it's that willingness to
yeah,
ask the question, I think, is key
yeah.
for people.
And
So
being able to reach out and ask those questions, I made a lot of friends that way too. I made a lot of
yeah,
friends. Uh,
I can only imagine.
People that helped me out, and my friends, they got me into trouble. I had
Well,
them
that's what
riding
good
around.
friends do.
I mean, it got me. Yeah, I have some stories I probably can't repeat on here, but uh,
All
that
right, we'll
that
do
were
it
a
in
lot
the
of fun.
after show.
After show it is.
Yeah. Well, so I just want to harken back to one of the things you mentioned earlier. You talked about kind of that initial coming back to college after the injury. You started kind of working out the injury yourself, of like, what am I getting back? What am I not getting back? So I guess my question is, did you feel like you got quite a bit back from where the injury began? And are you still to this day experiencing moments in which things are slowly, still working their way back, or are you kind of plateaued at this point?
I was always hoping, I always had these dreams, that
Yeah.
I always had these dreams, like I was gonna walk again. I'm gonna get this back, and dream that was gonna happen. Then I'd have hope that this was gonna happen, and you have to definitely have to have hope. And then I was kind of like based in reality, like this is what it is.
Hmm.
Um, and what I had in reality was, okay, let's do you have to do what you have to see where you're at right now and see where you're going to go from there. So I was heavily invested to begin with in physical therapy. I wanted to do the work. I wanted to do the help. I wanted to have the hope and to achieve that dream of walking again, the ultimate dream of walking again. Um,
Right.
and what I found out is that, there's so many other like bigger things than walking again, you know, that are small cures that are really amazing that have helped me out over the years. So
Mm.
to begin with, like I really haven't gained very much movement back. Um, I
Right.
could I could wiggle my toes a little bit, which is kind of cool. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
Well,
I
that's a
can't,
big deal. I mean, if you
yeah,
haven't moved them in a long time, that's
yeah,
a big
yeah.
deal.
I can't wiggle them anymore. I don't know.
Oh.
Unless I really stare at them long enough and tell somebody, look at them. But I mean, I could wiggle them just a little bit. Maybe I can see it. I'm still preparing my life as if, more things are going to come along. Um, and that, physical therapy and working out and keeping yourself in shape and those type of things,
Yeah.
I think are a big thing, not only for, if there's going to be a cure in the future, of walking again, or if it's just a matter, just like anybody else that goes for a run every day, for me to get my stander or for me to, um, have electrodes or something like that, or do my arm bike or arm things or do a ladder, you know, those type of things, that physical activity of trying to, that gaining strength to do
Yeah.
something, I think it's huge.
I'm going to kind of switch gears now and jump a little bit more into what you've gotten into as a professional. I know you're part owner and project manager at R&R Insurance. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you do for your day-to-day and kind of
Well,
how you wound up there?
one thing I guess I wouldn't mind touching on. So after college, um, I I'm lucky to come from a family that has decent influence. My dad started an insurance company, R&R Insurance Services. They sell commercial, personal line,
Mm-hmm.
benefit insurance. Everybody needs it. I'm not turning this into a commercial, but if you ever need something, let me know. But um, uh, the biggest thing, though, that I wanted to go out and do something on my own. I didn't want help from my dad. I wanted to do something separate from my family. I didn't want.
Yeah.
I want to make it on my own. Um, so after college, I ended up getting involved in Goodwill.
Mm.
Goodwill, they sell it's like you go to a place and buy goods
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know at the time, but Goodwill really was all about helping people with disabilities, things like that, get back. And at the time, the slogan was, "Do you believe in the power of work?" So I ended up going through Goodwill, and Goodwill helped me get a job at Northwestern Mutual, which is a huge company here in
Yep.
Milwaukee. And I worked at Northwestern Mutual for about 5, 6, 7 years, um,
Mm.
in the IT area, doing programming and things like that. But that's really where I learned how to um, work with my injury and talk with people and things like that, and be part of certain things. Um, and I mean that was really how I first like cut my teeth per se. And after
Yeah.
that, then I decided to come back and let's join the family business. And so now I work with my brother, my brother, my sister, my dad, and R&R Insurance Services, where I spend most of my day working with producers, salespeople, helping them learn how to do certain things with the CRM, um,
Mm-hmm.
those type of issues. Um, I get out and do a lot of different things publicly with my foundation, talking, but it's fun. Working, I think working is is definitely a key to a healthy mind. I could not imagine if I was sitting at home every day.
Yeah.
I mean, even during COVID, when I was stuck at home, I loved getting out in public and meeting people and talking to people, and it was driving me crazy just being here on the, talking, even
Yeah.
just talking to people on Zoom all the time.
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
It is not the same.
yeah, it's not
So
the same.
I
So
feel
I
you.
mean,
So I guess, oh, I'm sorry. Go for
so
it.
I mean, but working was what's interesting is working. It as I have from my beginning, my injury to where I am now. What the one thing that's really changed, and it will continue to change, which is
Mm-hmm.
always a beneficiary of people in my position, is technology. I mean,
Right.
technology has evolved so much where, cell phones and iPads and those type of things. To begin with, I didn't have a cell phone when I was first injured.
Right.
I have an iPad. Now I go wherever I go, I have an iPad on my lap. I mean, I just
Right.
Don't leave anywhere.
And it has accessibility settings that allow you to use it like anybody else.
Oh, exactly. And well, it touch face. I mean, voice recognition piece, being able to talk things. When I was first injured, when they introduced me to Dragon Naturally Speaking, it was me talking to the computer saying, "Hi, my name," and then it get it wrong,
Really?
and then it would get it wrong, and then start over again. It was really slow. Now,
Wow.
obviously, everybody uses voice recognition for everything, but it's like it's great. I mean, just as far as getting around a computer and doing things, um, I mean it's amazing. From I don't want to say it too loud because I have one in my room, but Alexa,
Yeah.
because
I always call her Allegra because
that's
then
a
she doesn't trigger.
that's a good that's a good idea. But I mean, holy cow, what has that done for me in my life? I mean, the the ability to turn my lights on and off, dim them,
I
turn the computer
100%.
on, switch TV channels, call for help, make phone calls. I mean, that's a game changer. Holy cow for somebody in my position.
Totally.
Driving, taking notes, the video recording things at work. Um, I mean, it's made me just as effective as any other individual, and I feel like I can do as good a job in my position. I'm not going to be a construction worker, but in my position of dealing with technology and people, I feel like I can do it just as well as anybody else can right now. And in fact, I think this injury in some way has given me advantages dealing with those technologies because I want to know what's the most popular,
Effective.
most imperfect thing that's going to make me productive, most likely might make somebody else more productive.
Talking about your paralysis foundation, really kind of how did that come to be? And what sort of things are you guys doing for events and really talk a little bit about the foundation itself.
The foundation, so after I was injured, obviously the expenses that accumulate with this injury can be pretty
Mm-hmm.
astronomical. So
I
the
can only imagine.
community really got together and they had a fundraiser, they had a golf outing, believe it or not, and they raised a significant amount of money for some of my expenses and things that I need to do around the house as far as putting ramps in and things like that. Um, the following year, they asked, "Do I want to do it again?" And I said, "Sure, but I don't need the money anymore, so let's do it for somebody else." So we had the fundraiser. This group is a group of individuals, and we donated all the money we had to the Christopher Reese Paralysis Foundation, and we did
Mm.
that for a couple of years. But it was kind of difficult having these fundraisers and then giving it to another foundation, and then people wanting their 501c3 thing back. So the idea
Yeah.
came, let's just start our own foundation and keep doing this golf outing, and we'll do it from there. So that's really how it started. And our goal was to find a cure for paralysis by supporting the latest research that we can find, and also help people with neurological disorders. So really, we we have we give out money for research grants every year, charitable grants every year, and scholarships. So
Oh, okay.
so we give priority to individuals that live in Wisconsin and that are spinal cord injured for such things as ramps or vehicle modifications and those type of things. And then
Hmm.
scholarships, big thing. Get back to school.
Right.
Whether if you're injured or if you're the child of somebody that's injured. But obviously, the research is one of the key things. But we've the foundation really has evolved over the years from this golf outing that would raise $250,000 a year, which is I'm pretty proud of, which is pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
but now we have events throughout the years. We have a run, walk, roll that Carroll University helps put on. Um, we have uh, we have a bowling event. We used to have a team challenge. We have a trivia event. Um, it's one of the best events is a fashion show um,
Oh, wow.
where we have all the models are in wheelchairs. So
That's awesome.
they go out, they scroll the run, they roll the runway and back again, and that's an absolute blast. we have another event where an individual has started a kayaking event where he goes out in kayaks. He's a quadriplegic, and he gets people to come up kayaking with him, and we raise money that way. We have events going on all the time throughout the year, but a lot of times it's volunteers that have decided they want to make a difference and they want to help out and they believe in the cause, and they're doing the work.
Right.
I've really become a figurehead for a lot of people that are behind me trying to make a difference. I'm lucky that way. And I'm lucky to come from a family. I'm lucky to come from a community. I'm lucky to come from a community and have ties throughout the insurance industry as well, being in the family business that I am, to get that support. So
Totally.
the BRPF really is, about that dream of walking again, but living in reality today. And how can we get that accomplished? And the fastest and the most efficient way as possible, but still having a good time right now.
Just one more kind of note on that. The BRPF, I know you guys do these, charitable grants and scholarships and stuff, but then with all the events that you're hosting, you're raising all this money, and you also donate money to research or basically fund research, correct?
Correct. That's the main hope. I mean, that's where we have to invest. I strongly believe that there's going to be a cure, in some way, shape, or form. We've already experienced cures already. I mean, in my life right now, there was no such thing as a baclofen pump. Well, if you call that, I call that a semi-cure when somebody came out with that. And I don't know.
Can you go a little more into what pump?
A baclofen pump. So,
a baclofen?
A baclofen pump. So quadriplegics, they're suffering from spasms all the time, right? And
yeah,
they shake, their body moves. For me, my legs would spasm, and I would jump, and my legs and my arms would shoot out, and I couldn't control them. So I was taking 40 milligrams of baclofen, which is a medication to help control that. And I was taking that 4 times a day, and it made me tired. And I have to take it because otherwise I'd be jumping out of my chair and things like that. Well, somebody came up with the idea and said, let's see if we can embed this. I don't know. It's like the size of a hockey puck. This pump underneath the skin, and it's basically a catheter that threads from that pump into my spinal fluid in the back of my neck. So it's all internal. So this hockey puck where they put the baclofen in directly now goes directly into my spinal fluid, and I don't have any of the side effects of the oral medication. And it's a whole lot more potent.
Right.
So.
Well, and it's going straight to the source. It doesn't have to doesn't get processed by the rest of the body to get there.
Correct. And they use these pumps for pain management as well, and all of this different stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, is that a cure of walking in, moving more? But no, but that was from a technology standpoint, that was huge for me.
Yeah.
But, going back to our question about just, the foundation and things like that, we have to invest in our future and basic science and come up with new ideas. Whether a researcher comes up with an idea that sounds way off the wall or whatever, but we're willing we're willing to invest in it. And if it flops, it flops. But at least we tried it. That's what we're looking at.
Leave no stone unturned.
Some people. There's a researcher that we've supported. It's exciting for me because I be able to support these researchers is that I get to get involved and hear about some of this stuff, and I get to meet him and talk to him, and I get to see what's happening, and it's just different stuff that's out there. A lot of times it's way over my head. I have no idea what they're talking about.
I can believe that. I would definitely be in the dark
But
for a lot of those conversations.
but I know they're working on it. I know they're researching new ideas, and I think that's essential. You never know what's going to happen, what somebody might come across or find out or whatever. Um, and I guess that's what I'm most proud about with the foundation is that and where I'm at right now is that we are uncovering new things. We are helping out not only people, but we're giving hope to people that a cure is possible. There's things out
Yeah.
there's people actually out there working on finding a cure for paralysis. It started with way before Christopher Reeves, but Christopher Reeves was the man. He's the one that put us really on the forefront of trying to find a cure, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to doing that. There's people out there that are trying to do that, and as long as we can keep it in people's face and out there, I think people are willing to help us out, and anything can happen. You just never know.
Well, I think that about wraps us up. This was an absolutely incredible interview. It's so much fun to talk to you. You're an incredibly entertaining person. I love your outlook on things and the way you've dealt with this over the years. For everybody watching at home, if you're interested in learning more about BRPF, we're going to have a link down in the description, or you can always just navigate to www.brpf.org.
Yep.
And I thank you again for taking the time out and joining us today.
Hey, this is an absolute honor. We modeled our foundation very much after the Peter Morton Foundation. You guys do amazing work, and great to be. I feel honored to be on this, and I feel inspired. I really do feel inspired. This is kind of a getting out there and talking. This is a great platform to keep spreading the word. And anytime I get to go out and tell my story to help make a difference, this is fantastic. And you guys are doing a great job. So, and you know what? I think you should be more. Maybe we'll put you on some real TV. I think you do a great job, David.
Well, thank you very much. That's too kind, but I really do appreciate it. And we're excited that we were able to make this happen. And thank you so much.
All right. Fantastic.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.
You too.